No, don't don't do the thing.
Oh, man.
How about me a jar of goo?
Yeah, we bought goo to drink.
There's sediment.
Oh, fun.
It's spirulina.
What is spirulina?
I don't know. They're not even labeled.
I did Spiro for years. I switched over to finasteride.
I feel like Tyler just handed me a couple of pills. Like, here, take these.
Nate, do you know what Spiro is?
No. Wait, hold on. I do. It's a Pokemon. It's like Pidgeotto, but like
spironolactone.
Okay.
It's a potassium-sparing diuretic that is often used concurrently with HRT because it can pretty oftenly cause the growth of breast tissue.
Okay, hold on. I'm finding the honk shoe button.
Which is why when I have a patient that's transgender and they're taking Spiro, I warn them about taking or eating or taking too much or too little potassium.
I don't see any
you gotta be careful with them bananas.
Wait, so are you telling me eating a banana will make my dick fall off? Is that what I'm hearing right now?
No. It'll poison you if you're taking Spiro.
Oh, yeah. That's much worse than my dick
So in a sense, your dick will fall off because you'll die.
Oh.
I swapped over to finasteride so I can still get boners.
Nate, do you know what finasteride is?
Yeah, it's a hair thing, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah, see, I know medicine. Don't get up on me about medicine.
It's also an estrogen derivative. So when you see all these manly men taking finasteride to not lose their hair, they're really taking estrogen. Which is why all this nonsense about hormones and gender-affirming care and how they hate it is a bunch of bullshit because they're already doing it. They just don't know it.
So if I wanted to have the manliest hair, like the most thickest, strongest, army-ready hair, I would not be taking finasteride. I would take testosterone.
No, you do the opposite.
No. Yeah, that's the exact opposite.
Testosterone is the thing that makes your hair fall out.
Well, then what's the manly hair chemical?
Estrogen.
No, it's not.
Okay,
no.
Nate, I think you need to try estrogen, I think is what we need to do.
Stop trying to force femme me. It's not going to happen.
Well, I'm not force femming you. I'm suggest femming you.
Listen, when I was a wee lad of like 8, I'd put my hands on my hips like this, like a sassy boy. And I was told to stop because I was being a sassy boy. It made me look a little bit too feminine. And so what I'm saying
I
here,
definitely see the sassy boy inside you coming out when you do that. It's good.
So, but that's why I still have very nice hair as an adult, because I'm all man.
No, it's actually the opposite.
Listen,
if you're defining what a man is based on how much testosterone you have personally, brother.
No, see, I define a man by how big that little guy is.
Little guy?
Yeah.
Like penis?
The homunculus that goes inside the lady. Listen, I'm trying to be topical. It's not working.
I guess that I'm a proper man.
It's all very confusing.
Yeah, why did we start like this?
I don't, because you got up on spirodestride.
Spirodestride, yes.
Okay.
You combine the two medicines
to make a better
together
medicine.
as one.
Yes, yeah.
No.
Although I will say I do cheat, actually. I've been doing minoxidil. I've been spraying the foam up there.
Is it working?
Yeah, I think so. Like I still have I have a little patch, but it's not like a big patch. So
Nate, I'm gonna say something.
Gender's affirmed.
Nate, I'm gonna make a big proclamation.
Okay.
You ready?
Yes.
So, and Eve, you're involved in this as well. Also, Eve, welcome.
Yeah, I guess we started.
No, hold on. Big proclamation.
Okay.
Is if we win a big contract at work, because we're contract negotiating this year.
Yeah.
I'm gonna max out one of my credit cards and go get Turkish hair plugs.
No, don't get the Turkish. Don't do that. Dude, go full Heihachi. I'm telling you.
Isn't the Turkish one where they take like butt hairs?
Yes. I got so many butt hairs. They would look so good up here.
The only reason why I'm doing that dang minoxidil is
because you're insecure. You can't go bald gracefully like me.
No, because like all it would do is just give me like if I went all natural, it'd just be giving me like a little spot right here.
Yeah,
and that
halo.
bothers me.
You'd be an angel.
Yeah, I just want all or nothing. You know, either like make me bald or make me like fabulous. You know,
Eve, do you have anything to say about the hair troubles we're having?
Do you remember those old commercials for like the spray on hair? Whatever happened to that?
Yeah, the hair club for men.
Yeah.
No ladies, only men.
If you're concerned about your thinning hair, call Hair Club for Men and receive our free brochure. Learn how Hair Club's non-surgical polyfuse method gives you the freedom you've always wanted. Your new hair will look and feel like a part of you.
I did not ask to lose my hair, and for a long period of time I thought that I would have no choice. And with Hair Club, I do have that choice. I like that.
Yeah, I'm very intrigued by spray-on hair.
We do need to bring back more spray-on products.
I mean, yeah, I'd be willing to give it a shot. Or you know what? Honestly, the funniest thing are like every so often, you know, because like I'm a slave to TikTok. I'm still on that. I keep on drinking that garbage. And every so often, the guys who get like the beard tattoos show up.
Ugh.
I don't know if you've been seeing those.
I've seen those. I do not like them.
Yeah, no, that seems like a permanent mistake.
That's a very extreme form of like the eyebrow tattoos,
which I also dislike too. I mean, whatever, like do what you want to your face.
I think the biggest sin of them all are the people who get tattoos of moles and freckles.
Yeah.
Stolen valor.
Go out of the sun, get that cancer. You have to do it.
I feel like if you're just going to be tattooing a beard on your face, then you might as well just do it with a Sharpie.
Yeah, you've already lost.
Welcome, losers, to hate speech.
Let's have a chat about hate. Got the purple wanna talk about it, let it boil over, blow the temper, call this hate and speech.
And welcome to Hate Speech, a podcast about hating things. I'm Tyler. That's Nate.
Yeah, that's Nate.
Sorry, I'm explaining to the imaginary third person who listens to this podcast who you are.
Eve is literally right over there on the screen.
Eve, you have to talk. You can't just wave.
Oh, hi.
Yeah. No, you know what I don't hate, though? I don't hate dropping a pop locket.
Yeah. Does our music. We love them. Wonderful.
That's right. And on the good list.
We have a good list now.
Yeah, there's only one person on it. Jace Busy.
Eve, how you doing? What's up?
You know, it's things are happening.
Ooh.
No, not that one.
Oh.
Oh no! At state level, we're talking.
Oh no!
Yeah, it's looking rough.
It's the part I don't like about any of this, and we're gonna try and keep this timeless, is that Donald Trump shut down all outbound communication from all the big like Institute of Health, FDA, all that stuff. They're not allowed to communicate to anybody outside, so he's probably just killing them all, like he's planning to do the rest of us.
Well, he didn't seal the entire NIH building and pump in gas.
He might as well have, for all the good they're doing me now. Taking fluoride out of the water. Man.
Oregon never had fluoride. Although Salem apparently doesn't. I don't know.
Flavor.
They should flavor the water. You're right. Flavor the tap water. That's my new issue.
Put liquid IV in the water. Gotta have it.
Thursdays is watermelon day. Fridays, cotton candy.
Did you slide a watermelon into my packet?
I might have, yeah.
I knew it.
Wow.
I reached into the pear for a pear one. I poured it in. I was like, this is watermelon.
This is very local to this house.
We're keeping our podcast granular.
Eve, what horrors are happening in your state?
Well, I mean, yeah, you got like the whole war on trans people happening right now. The war on immigrants. It's going to be a rough couple years for pretty much anyone that's vaguely not a cishet white person.
Well, here, I have
Congratulations, Nate.
Yeah, thank you.
You're going to have a good time.
No, I was about to give some.
Well, actually, no, probably not. The economy's going to fucking tank.
I was about to, like, as the cis white authority, I was about to give some advice. I'd recommend for this upcoming war that you purchase a F-35.
Oh.
At Lockheed Martin, our mission is to keep you mission ready. And the F-35 Lightning II delivers. When advanced engineering matters most. When air superiority requires superior technology. When precision means you're ready for all possibilities. The F-35 is a step ahead.
Have you thought about buying one of these F-35s? I hear they're great.
No, I thought about quite the opposite.
I don't know. I kind of want one. Like,
no, you don't. They suck.
Well, okay.
I don't know how much research you've done on these things before.
The amount of research I've done is like about a quarter of what I've done for all the other ones. But here's the thing I do know is that I came very close to getting a jet because I collected 200 Pepsi points back in the early 2000s.
Is that how that works?
I mean, you know about the guy, right?
Yes, I do know about
the guy who collected like 2 million Pepsi points because on the commercial they said if you got 2 million Pepsi points, you get a jet. and he's like, and he showed up. He's like, "Where's my jet?" Did not work. He did not get a lethal piece of military equipment.
And then he built a Killdozer and turned it on the city.
Oh, the dream.
Here's how we start this out. What is more effective in modern combat? A F-35 or a Killdozer? And by the way, what is a Killdozer, too? Maybe we should start with what a Killdozer is.
It's a big tank a guy built to fight the government because he was real pissed off about having to pay taxes.
Yeah, it's a bulldozer that you reinforce with steel plates that are then filled in with concrete, and then you weld yourself inside of it so that nobody can get to you, and you're essentially invincible to police.
I didn't know that he welded himself inside. That's pretty sick.
It was a suicide mission.
Yeah, he was going to die in there.
Or like live in it like a space marine.
And to all you like kind of nerd listeners who don't have any idea what we're talking about, basically picture Iron Man in a truck.
Yeah, it was a bulldozer that kills.
Yes.
A Killdozer.
A bulldozer levels a building in Granby, Colorado. Then another. And another. It's part of a meticulously planned citywide demolition project.
I thought the bulldozer went crazy.
So today we're doing the F-35.
It's true.
So I think we should ask Eve why she hates the F-35 and what's her history with this F-35. I noticed you're wearing combat fatigues.
Yes, I was actually planning on wearing like my full proper uniform. But I could only find my modified version, which is like cut off at the midriff. Which got like some.
I like the pentagram patch you've sewed on.
Somebody sees you and you're like, oh, what war was that one?
Got like the anarcho-communist flag up on there.
You tell me we have not been treating you properly. We should be saluting.
Yeah, exactly.
Oh wait, no,
don't do the arm thing. Wrong arm thing.
No, it's
hey, first
sorry.
of all, you're wearing
Roman.
glasses. You're saluting in all the wrong spot. Snaps up right to the corner of the glass. There you go.
A bitch.
wait, no, spectacles, testicles, wallet.
Yeah.
Salute.
Okay.
I was a crew chief in the United States Air Force back in 2010. I was assigned to the F-22A Raptor. A crew chief is a jet mechanic. So I just hit a jet with a wrench until it worked.
Oh, kind of like the engineer from Team Fortress Classic.
No.
Fortunately, I got the boot relatively quickly. I was only in for about 1.5 years before they were like, hey, wait a minute, you're a girl. You gotta get the fuck out of here.
Yeah, they hadn't released the movie G.I. Jane yet, so that didn't really.
You didn't.
You
didn't
aware.
tell, but they were certainly asking.
Mm-hmm. Well, actually, I did tell because I was like, "This fucking sucks. I'm out of here." Don't join the military. It sucks. You will leave with a disability and probably just a massively elevated risk of cancer. Speaking of which,
but they do take care of you afterwards, I bet.
Not really, especially if you get booted out early.
What?
We are not going to ask about the type of discharge Eve had.
Oh, no. AFI 36-3208, paragraph 5.11.9.5. I fucking memorized that shit. That is gender identity disorder. Since it's under an identity disorder, you can't get anything less than honorable. I memorized that shit, and I was like talking with lawyers nonstop just to cover my ass. You do not want to get dishonorable.
That rocks.
That's actually cool. I did not know that's how that worked.
The only cool thing that I really got out of it was that I stole a piece of the F-22. I got a bolt from it. It's even got the carcinogenic paint on it still.
Oh boy. Oh no.
That bolt cost $3,000.
Probably more.
Honestly, I would not be surprised if it's at least in the double digits.
Cool. Healthy.
But yeah, while I was a crew chief, there was a lot of discussion around the F-35. So let's put the Pentagon into some context.
Well, you're starting to sound like the Saudis from 2001.
Do you know, have you ever met somebody who sees like an infomercial and says, wow, that will really radically change my life?
So myself? Yes. Yeah. I've been so close to buying a chicken rotisserie back in my 20s.
The slap chop could work.
Yeah, it looks amazing. It changes everything. The Pentagon loves the idea of a multitool. They see the Leatherman advertised to them, and they think to themselves, wow, I can just throw out my whole toolbox. I don't need any of this shit. I've got a Leatherman. It does everything. Thing is, multi-tools kind of suck at everything. They can do everything. They suck at it all.
So what you're telling me is that the F-35 is the slap. What? No, not the slap chop, because I feel like the slap chop's a useful tool.
ShamWow.
No, ShamWow. You could do some ShamWow stuff with it. Like, what's the real like infomercial garbage? Like, what's the worst thing you can buy on an infomercial?
It's a straight up. It's a cheap multi-tool, because the goal of the F-35 program.
Floby. It's a Floby.
I have no idea what that is.
Welcome to the exciting world of Floby Precision Haircuts. In the next few minutes, we're going to show you how to achieve the kind of haircuts you've always wanted. Our motto? No hassle, no mess, easy to do.
The Floby is an attachment that you add onto a vacuum cleaner that has like little blades on it, and you suction it to your head, and it gives you a even haircut because it sucks the hair in and cuts your hair. Awful, like a suck cut, people called it.
But see, I could see that theoretically like working more than 50% of the time.
Yeah, no, you should definitely stick parts of your body inside of a vacuum machine.
Especially one lined with knives.
Tempting.
This vacuum machine, normally used for cleaning the carpet, can actually cut hair if you do it correctly.
Yeah, it sounds good. I'd try it.
And so like the F-35 is the Floby. It is the salad shooter. Ah, there's a one.
There's one.
Yeah, there it is.
The Ron Popeil food dehydrator.
Yeah. Like, well, the salad shooter had like different attachments you could stick into the middle of it.
So does the Ron Popeil food dehydrator.
Okay, let me just do my salad shooter thing.
Salad shooter helps you every day.
How about some cheese for your pizza or perfect salad shooter hash browns for breakfast? Vegetables sliced or shredded, and nothing tops a salad like salad shooter.
Point and shoot to help you every day.
Because the salad shooter, you could stick in like a cheese grater, shoot out cheese. You could stick in like a piece of lettuce and it shoots out a salad.
You know what you call a vegetarian with diarrhea?
What?
Salad shooter.
I'm done. I'm done talking. It's over now. So okay, F-35 though. So like,
it is a type of jet. It is an aircraft.
But it's also like it's a scam, is what I come to understand the F-35 is. Is that a bunch of military contractor or military salesmen? I don't know what you call them.
A military contractor.
Yeah, one.
Lockheed Martin.
Lockheed was up against Boeing for the contract and won.
So that is the Coca-Cola and the Halliburton is the Pepsi, or who's the Pepsi in this?
Boeing is the Pepsi. Okay. Lockheed Martin is the Coke. If we're going on Coke is better, which I'm always going on Coke is better than Pepsi.
It's true. Okay. So
the F-35 is a jet. I didn't know that before this. So
you didn't know that before this?
Well, I could have guessed, but it's like, is it a Top Gun jet? Is it one of those big ones that carries a bunch of guys? Is it a type of helicopter? I don't fucking know.
No, it's a futuristic machine of the future that can do everything.
It's invisible to radar. It's carries more powerful bombs, more bullets.
Okay, so
no, it doesn't.
It doesn't carry bullets?
No, it does. It only carries about 180 though.
That doesn't seem like enough to end the reign of terror.
No, not for a rotary cannon. That seems kind of because all right, the F-22 carries 480, and that was considered a relatively small amount. But they wanted it to be able to engage in a dogfight if necessary. So that's why the F-22 doesn't have a ladder to get in and out of it. You have to
jumping?
No, you have a ladder just on the flight line that you carry over and hook on.
You have a bunch of big guys that lift you up into the plane. Big beefy men. They're lifting triangle weights and they toss you up in there.
They make a human pyramid that you have to climb in.
I wish.
I mean, so like, I guess we should just like out our ignorance about military hardware. The only thing I really know about jets I've learned through Ace Combat. I don't know if you played the Ace Combat games, but
a little bit.
Yeah, there's a magical place called the Unreal, I think, where they it's like our world but controlled by planes.
Okay.
There's a princess. I'm not entirely sure. But I got excited when I heard that the topic was the F-35 because here are the things I know about the F-35. Like just making an outline here.
Okay.
One, it don't work. it's a machine that doesn't really do the thing it's supposed to.
I've got a list of some just hilarious problems with it.
Okay. Number two thing I knew is that it is insanely expensive. It's the most expensive machine you could probably buy.
Yeah.
We will get to that. I don't think you understand how expensive this thing is.
And then the last thing I knew about the F-35 is that most recently, Elon Musk had a beef with the F-35.
I did not know that.
He does the thing where he pretends he's an expert about whatever thing he's read on Twitter. And he's just like,
yeah.
Ty, can you do a Elon Musk voice?
I really do not think that would be a very good idea. No. No, I can't. And I'm not going to learn it.
Yeah, anyways, he was saying like, oh, you know what, F-35 suck. I can make a drone that's so much better.
I just find them to be inadequate.
Yes, no, on those 2 points.
Yeah, pretty much. And so, like, those are the 3 things I knew about the F-35.
Why would he make an F-35? F-35s already explode by themselves anyway.
Yeah.
We don't need him to do that with planes.
They don't so much explode as just, like, catastrophically fail.
So I want to know about the explode. Okay, what was promised? If the F-35 worked, what would it do?
All right, so the goal of the F-35 program was to essentially replace most of the other jets and in our arsenal. Because we got like the F-16, the F-15, the A-10 Warthog.
I looked up the F-15. Like that was working back in the 70s, right?
Yeah. No, that one I believe was first introduced in 1972.
And so, like, it feels like if it's not broke, don't fix it kind of situation, right? Like, I mean, like, why do you need a new
the
jet?
Thing is, they're getting up to about 60 years old at this point. Like, they're pretty old.
But like, why do you need like a new thing though? I mean, I felt like if it's a big fast jet that can destroy life.
Question. That's an excellent question.
Hey Nate, take out your iPhone 1.
But it's not an iPhone. It's like, okay, would you rather be shot by an old gun or a modern gun? Like, I mean, yes, I'm sure there's some improvements, but like.
All right. Well, okay. To put it into context, we've got the F-22. The basic conceptualization of the F-22 started back in the early 1980s, where the goal was to counter Russia, the USSR. And then the USSR kind of stopped existing.
Thank you, Pizza Hut. Thank you, Gorbachev.
They had already, figured out the tech. And so, they started making it well into the 90s and got it all set up. And then bing, bang, boom. Late 90s, early aughts, we start getting the F-22 Raptor. There's some problems early on, but all in all, and I might be a little bit biased, fucking stellar jet. Spectacular.
Guilty admission is I do think guns and tanks and jets are cool.
Yes, I absolutely
they are
agree.
horrible machines.
Yes.
that cause all sorts of problems for life. But if given the opportunity, I would totally want to sit on the biggest gun I could find and shoot it and go yeehaw. I think that sounds like a good time to me.
Yes. Why do you think I own guns? They're a lot of fun and they feel good.
Right? I've never shot a gun, just for transparency. Tyler, we need to go.
I'll bring my gun when I come out that way.
I want to feel the power of God in my hands.
Nate, you don't understand that was a veiled threat. You are so gun naive. You didn't even catch that Eve's gonna murder you.
But honestly, though, if I want to be threatened, I do want it to be nice and gentle like that. It's like, listen, I'm just coming to meet you with my gun.
How'd you like your suffering to end, big boy?
You know what? Sure. I mean, so did the idea of building a better, faster jet, as a one-off, we're gonna build one because it's cool. Sure, I am kind of for that, right? And so what I'm hearing is that there was kind of an arms race for a while that that eventually ended with the F-22. Right, we're we're not in a race anymore, but we built this thing.
For context, essentially, the F-22 is about 30 years ahead of tech of pretty much anyone else in the world. We're the only ones that have it. We will not sell it to anyone else. But they also canceled the program because it was too expensive. So we only have 187 active ones, as far as I'm aware.
I mean, that seems like enough. How many of those things you need?
For that jet, that's the kind of bird that can take out 30 of them per one killed. It's spectacular at the one thing that it does, which is air to air. It kills other jets. That's the only thing that it does. That's the only thing that it's good at, and it is the best at it.
Conceptually, that seems like the perfect weapon in that it's only there to destroy other weapons, right? It's not here to bomb a wedding. It is here to take out another jet.
Well, it can.
Sometimes weddings happen
also.
In jets. So
okay, and it technically has done that.
Well, I was trying to give it a positive note.
To be fair, though, it didn't do that while I was in. While I was in, it was just sitting on the runway. It didn't do shit. They were kind of pissed off about it because it was just sitting there because they decided to get into a war where they just blew up people with zero air power.
And we should be clear, F-22s only blow up weddings when they're very distressed.
Yeah.
No, that happens when the state is very distressed. It's we have to use it.
We're
gonna blow up these weddings.
They feel very anxious, and then they do a salute that they forgot that they thought it was something else. Okay. So but what I'm hearing though is that the F-22 perfectly fine machine of war. Like there's really no reason to build a new one, except
the new one was to replace essentially the support fighters. Previously the F-15 was the air superiority fighter. That was replaced by the F-22. And the F-15 is supported by the F-16. So essentially, what you ran into an issue with is you got the F-22. It doesn't really have a comparable support aircraft. So, in the support aircraft, they deal with ground targets, things that might shoot down your air superiority fighter from different angles than other aircraft.
Okay. And so this is where the multi-tool comes in.
Yes.
We have this solution.
Yes, they wanted an aircraft that was identical across all branches, could have bits and bobs swapped out for everything. They were real keen on having a VTOL, which is vertical takeoff and landing.
And Tal, you know this from Metal Gear Solid 2.
Yes.
Right? Because when the vampire is driving the jet where the president's riding on top, that was a VTOL because it was kind of just hovering there.
Yes.
Yes.
Right. Okay. That seems handy.
And
and
in True Lies, the end, that jet.
Okay, fine. Yes, also True Lies.
I've seen and played a lot of things with jets.
We're very proud.
The problem is that that's kind of a pain in the ass thing to do. And
to hover and look
it's really useful if you could do it correctly. It's just really, really hard to do it like that, and that's why you don't really see very many jets like that.
So we have this F-22. It's done its thing. Maybe a bit expensive, so hopefully we turn to this F-35 for a cheaper multi-tool replacement. Is that right?
That was the key selling point is we want something cheap. Cheap and good at its job. So they're like, okay, we're going to get like this smaller single engine fighter. It's going to do everything. And it's going to be cheap, and we're going to sell it to other countries.
Okay, this sounds great so far. I don't see how we can lose.
I would like 100 of these things, yeah.
Okay. Oh, what are you, Israel? Uh-oh. We'll get to it.
So, in, I want to say 1997, they open up a joint strike force competition between Boeing and Lockheed Martin to develop a new fighter. 2001, they wind up selecting the F-35 Lightning II from Lockheed Martin. Boeing's fucking pissed.
These subnames of Raptor and Lightning make them sound stupid.
Yes.
F-35 Warlock. No, it makes it less intimidating because now it's just like a guy with a bunch of tribal tattoos. Like it's not. I mean, like a white guy. Come on.
I got bad news about who is in our armed forces.
I mean, like it's.
There's a lot of those guys.
Earlier we were talking about Clive Barker. It seems like a lot of Clive Barker motherfuckers decided to start naming military machines, and it's just like it's in. I would be embarrassed to be killed by a raptor.
I'm trying to think of the situation where I'd get killed by a raptor, and I probably would have earned it by that point, I think.
Getting killed by lightning.
Hope.
Yeah, I don't want to die in like whatever a reverse Obama is, or it's like I'm getting drone struck at a wedding, or just getting Obama'd, I guess. Reverse Obama. The drone kills Obama.
Whoops, we pointed it the wrong way. But yeah,
Lockheed Martin gets this contract.
Yes, they won the bid for $200 billion, which was for development and procurement.
Which, Which this shows how like skewed my perspective is. Like, oh, 200 billion. That doesn't seem like a lot. Now, I know
quite a bit. But in terms of government spending and military spending in the U.S., it's a reasonable number. They were planning on getting a lot of jets. So
it's only like 10 years of public school funding.
I think if they cut like maybe 40, 50 people's welfare benefits, that would equal out.
Don't worry. We'll be getting into the pants shitting numbers here soon.
Excellent.
But it was expensive, but they were getting a lot of jets. They were developing a bunch of fancy new tech. All that shit.
What? Like what's some of the fancy?
We'd be selling it, so that would offset some of the cost. Yada yada yada.
Some of the fancy tech is like radar resistant alloys on the outside, so it's like a stealth fighter. That was one thing they talked about.
Yeah, and like crazy sensors and all that shit.
Like, was there any like outlandish wild shit like, it has a soul in it, or like,
No, this is not the movie Stealth.
You like surprises, Ben? Allow me to introduce the future of digital warfare. Eddie flies all by himself.
You mean itself? It will replace us all.
Don't you think they're gonna trade us all in for that machine?
We have things those computers can never have, like instincts, feelings, moral judgment.
Like, is there an AI orb that's just sitting there driving the jet? Like, is there
listening to Incubus?
We will get to the orb.
Oh no!
I'm excited for the orb.
There's an Incubus loving orb inside the F-35.
We got to get to the orb.
Just for comparison, development and procurement for the F-22 Raptor was $67 billion. And that was deemed too expensive. Unfortunately, I could not find a lifetime cost because they don't know what the fuck the lifetime of the F-22 is going to be, because they're in the talks of developing a new fighter to replace that.
Hell yeah, let's go.
Next generation air dominance fighter, NGAD, which they were like, oh yeah, no, we'll have that by 2030. But then like last year, they're like, it's gonna be on pause, and so it's just like, and also like always add more time and more money whenever the Pentagon gives you a date and a dollar amount. Always just add more.
Well, yeah, like what motivation does Boeing or Lockheed Martin have to say, yes, we'll keep on budget? Because they get more money if they go over budget.
No,
and
they
spend
are.
more time.
That's
like,
the thing. They aren't
They're
losing
all
the
on
contract.
the governmental. They're all on the titty.
Don't make fun of it.
It's all sunk cost for the government at this point. They have to keep investing into it because they dumped too much in it for it to fail.
Yeah, I mean,
like we've hit the point where the government has spent too much money on this thing, and they fucking know it, and they have no choice but to stick to it.
Yeah, so like, Boeing should really kind of, I keep on heading on Boeing, I don't know why. Lockheed Martin should be responsible and say, you know what, we're going to do good by our client and deliver this on time and say no to the extra, like, $500 billion.
So, yeah, like, the original development and was for $200 billion, and that would include buying the jets themselves. That has the development and procurement has swelled to $442 billion. As of, I want to say 2018. I don't have that on my notes here, but yeah, there's so many dates and numbers. There's so much on just this clusterfuck of a jet.
Once we get into the billions, it's always kind of hard to conceptually think about $1 billion. Like,
okay,
especially like 500 billion, right?
Let's make these numbers harder to conceptualize.
Yeah, let's inflate these numbers.
Let's go.
Outside the capacity of the human brain to comprehend at all, we are physically incapable of comprehending these numbers. $2 trillion
Here's the thing. I can comprehend this now because I have gotten back into Cookie Clicker. Eve, are you familiar with Cookie Clicker?
Yes, I have engaged with Cookie Clicker.
Right, and I encourage everyone, if you're having a hard time thinking about how much $1 trillion is, download Cookie Clicker. It's free.
Or you can also play it on the web, or teal.net.
Yeah,
Cookie Clicker.
Just go to Cookie Clicker. 1 click equals 1 cookie. Right. Well, I'm not going to go down that whole chain. The idea is that eventually you get into like the septillion cookies per second. But like starting out, like you feel every single click, and then getting to the first trillion takes about a day. I'm not going to try to make this some sort of poignant thing. Just download it. Numbers are hard. Like, how many Lamborghinis is that? I don't know.
It's probably every Lamborghini ever. Not even.
Oh, yeah, no, that wouldn't even touch it.
Yeah.
That wouldn't even touch it. You could buy Italy for those kind of numbers.
Yeah, like, what's the GDP every year? Like, it's like 2.5 trillion or something. So it's like the entire production of the United States for a year for this fucking jet.
Okay, so yes, $2 trillion is the current estimated lifetime cost. Because the planned lifetime for 2,452 jets is to 2088. Mind you, all of these numbers keep going up. 2018 it was 1.7 trillion. 2015 it was 1.5. Before that it was 1 trillion. The number just keeps going up.
Trumpflation is the worst. Am I right?
And it's just going to keep going up because
inflation's bad. It's bad when it happened to Sonic, and it's bad when it happens to the U.S. economy.
Thanks, Will Stancil.
I mean,
I'm so sorry.
But really though, like Tyler, like the idea, I just keep on going back to the idea of like how much is a trillion? Like how many zeros is in a trillion?
Well, it's a million billion or whatever.
There's 1,000 billion.
1,000 billion.
100,000, a million, a billion, and a trillion. 1, 2, 3. Like just if you have a piece of paper, really, I encourage you just to write out the number $1 trillion.
And the first listener who counts to 1 trillion and lets us know, I'll give you a prize.
And for what though? Like what did we spend the almost 2 trillion plus?
Currently still spending more.
Like, what did we get out of this?
An incredibly mid-jet. When it works, which is about 52% of the time.
Hell yeah.
And I don't want to...
All right, so by comparison, the expected functioning rate for an aircraft is 90% of the time.
Well, like, how much would be just normal jet? If I wanted to buy a good old F-16... with money I found.
Oh shit! F-16 probably.
Yeah, you're close to a computer.
Depending on who you buy from, you might be able to get sub $1 million.
Yeah, if I buy it on Black Friday.
Yeah, I did not look up an F-16's cost.
I mean, but like, like 2 to 3 million sounds about right, right? Maybe I don't know.
Yeah, for some like an F-16, I could see that. Okay. I could probably actually look it up. All these numbers are largely publicly available.
Well, let me tell you something that is a good deal. Have you heard of this thing that enhances your brain? Doesn't make you go insane. Elevates you from mental pain.
And if you drink it, you may be able to conceptualize a trillion.
Wait, hold on. I can't see it. Let me take some of this magic mind.
Magic mind, everybody. It's subtly sweet. Sharpens your mind, lowers your stress, gives you some calm energy.
Gives you enough energy to conceptualize numbers.
Here we go.
I'm ready to see the numbers. Here we go. I'm taking the green pill, the magic mind pill. Actually, it's a drink.
See, now, the way I see it, maybe if Lockheed Martin and the Pentagon had drank these, they would have either not made the jet or made the jet work.
They would if Lockheed Martin were on Magic Mind, they would have made it under budget, ahead of schedule, on time. Because this shit,
If only they took that $1 trillion and invested in their mental wealth.
Oh my God.
They would have.
I feel my mind expanding with Magic Mind. I can conceptualize $1 trillion. So yeah,
that was a sign. That was the sound of Tyler's brain exploding.
Yeah,
with Magic Mind.
It's got some lion's mane, ashwagandha, rhodiola, vitamins B2, 3, all those good things. And if you use our promo code, magicmind.com/speechjan,
our good friend Jan is giving a speech.
SpeechJan, they will take 45% off your first order. It's like they're giving it away.
Like, how much is 45% off $1 trillion, you know?
Wow. I can see all these numbers. I feel like Mr. Robot combined with the guy from Hannibal.
Yeah, exactly.
Magic Mind gave me super detective autism.
So yes, you know, and also much cheaper than a jet. Affordable.
You could actually buy this. You can't actually get an F-35. See, Magic Mind, unlike the F-35, works every time.
That's right. It doesn't melt your launch deck.
No.
When it tries to take off. It doesn't do that.
Doesn't.
It instead elevates you, much like a VTOL, into a greater plane of existence.
There's no secret hidden ingredients from China in this, like there are in the F-35.
Oh.
Do we want to get to that?
I mean, I can't think of a... Yes.
Okay.
I think we better.
What? I have not heard about this.
Okay, good. Because I was worried
There's so much shit. It's hard.
Well, it's $2 trillion worth of bullshit. There's got to be some secrets.
Yeah, so it was like... Let me pull out my notes here because I was worried that I knew y'all were doing this research, so I thought, I'm going to look into what makes this jet.
Okay.
So there were some alloys made by the Chinese in the plane.
Alloys.
Okay. From Horizon Forbidden West.
Okay, gotcha.
So the Pentagon found this out. They shut it down. Mm-hmm. They're like, no more Chinese parts, only American parts. Also, anyone who has F-35s, we will not replace those parts. You're stuck with Chinese F-35s. So the parts that were used, the Chinese parts, were magnets that help the plane land and start. And when they stopped using the Chinese magnets, the Chinese parts on the F-35s, their failure rates tripled.
Yeah. Which I hate to tell you about. I hate to tell you about American manufacturing, but there's a reason why we don't make that shit. It's because we can't.
Yeah. And the whole thing was all the parts have to be from America now.
Which is impossible. Like, there's no way that all the parts of this, like, super magical jet that costs $2 trillion.
So there's a pool of spare parts, the global pool.
Okay.
There are thousands of parts missing, and they are unaccounted for. Nobody knows where they went. They don't keep track of them. There's just missing jet parts.
I found a bolt. So I know where one bolt is.
No, that's for something completely different.
And so, like, okay, so wait, you're saying, like, just parts are just disappearing off these assembly lines? Or?
Yeah, and so the craziest part I found was recently, when we talked about this idea, I was like, why is F-35 sticking out of my head? I just heard something about that.
Yeah.
Well, wouldn't you know it?
Yeah.
The F-35's been used by Israel to bomb Iran and Gaza. So Israel modifies their F-35s. They're called the F-35 Adir, which means strong one.
Stupid. Give me back lightning. Where's my Raptor?
And so one noted labor candidate and anti-Semite Jeremy Corbyn tried to shut down UK parts being sent to Israel because the ejector seat and some other stuff are made in the UK.
Right, because they're very good at escaping.
But wouldn't you know it, that didn't work. Because even though they're made in the UK, the way the contract works with Lockheed Martin, those parts, as soon as they are cobbled together into jet parts, belong to America.
Well, yeah, I mean, that's the whole point. That's the bigger story of this jet, to me at least, is this idea of interdependence, codependency between all of these parts and all these manufacturers where they can't stop.
And it gets worse. It gets worse.
Okay.
Because the good side of the English government, if they have one, we're like, we're not.
Have you tried their peas, their mushy peas?
They're good. They had said, hey, we don't like the idea that the parts we're creating are being used to kill children in Gaza. And so we're not going to send those parts to Israel anymore. And
I have not heard of that. That's admirable. That's a good thing.
So they stopped doing that. But the parts went into the global pool, which is controlled by America, and sent to Israel. So they have no way to stop where their produced jet parts go.
Sure.
So even if they wanted to stop, they cannot because America.
Yes.
Yeah, I mean,
and Israel's also the only ones that are allowed to actually modify the aircraft. That's why they've got their own variant.
Yep. They add stuff to it.
Like, that's wild to me, the idea that you just couldn't. Like, if I was, Turkey, I couldn't just, like, slap on, like,
hair plugs on your F-35.
Yeah, like, why couldn't I do that? Like, I bought the plane. Like, I guess.
You bought it under contract, and it gives us leverage.
Yes, every single part has to be replaced through America, except the Chinese parts. They're not gonna fix those.
That seems bad for a warplane.
Not
right,
yes,
because the whole idea, like, this is my defense. This is the one reason why the boot of, I don't know who's Turkey's enemy.
Pretty much everybody,
right?
Because
like, that's the only thing stopping them is that I have this cool jet, and like, if I can't, I don't know.
Well, see, the issue that you run into is that the U.S. pumps so much money into its military-industrial complex because that is the only thing that we really do anymore in the U.S. That is a major industry. They can't stop because it will just annihilate the economy.
For the world, the American industrial complex is too big to fail, is what I mean.
Exactly.
Yes.
Like, it can't. They cannot stop. If they do, America's just going to disintegrate.
Well, I'm glad we're built on such a strong foundation, America. It's hopefully nothing bad happens in the next 4 years that would cause one of these dominoes to fall.
And because of that, though, we've also got a huge leg up in terms of military technology. So
yeah,
but like that's the conflict I'm having.
Has to, if they want to be able to compete with other people that buy our weapons, they have to buy our weapons.
I mean, there's this internal conflict because when I hear "Made in America," I do think immediately like, oh, it's shitty and expensive, right? And so when I hear like America might actually have a competent military equipment industry, like we're actually good at making weapons.
Okay, we're good at making like tech show shit.
Okay.
Where it looks real cool, but when you actually get it on the ground, there's a lot of problems, and then everybody has to figure out workarounds.
Right, so the F-35 cannot spell strawberry, or it says it has 5 R's in strawberry.
Very much so. Once again, we will get to that.
Okay, I'm wanting to get to that.
Okay, here, I'm just going to read off some shit from a 2015 Pentagon report. This is like 5 years after the jet was originally supposed to be ready to rock.
And this is the stuff they've admitted.
It is still in active development because there's still so many problems with it.
Excellent.
The Joint Program Office, which is the office that is running the program, is recategorizing or failing to count aircraft failures to try to boost maintainability and reliability statistics. So essentially, they're just fudging the numbers all over the fucking place.
Yeah, if you don't see, like at the hospital, if I don't see my patient fall, if I just find them on the floor, they could have just sat there. We don't know for certain that they fell.
What was that thing we were talking about earlier where, like, if a doctor happens to see you in a hospital, he can charge you for that?
Yeah.
It's something like, so they're
$500 just to walk in the door.
Right. So like that, but for jets.
Insane shit. Let's see. This is one of my favorite lines. testing is continuing to reveal the need for more tests.
I mean, okay, but that happens though. I can relate to that one.
But the majority of the fixes and for capable deficiencies being discovered are being deferred to later blocks rather than being resolved. Blocks are development blocks.
Okay.
So
story blocks.
It's essentially just steps.
I'm in hell.
The F-35 has a significant risk of fire due to extensive fuel tank vulnerability, lightning vulnerability, and its OBIG system's inability to sufficiently reduce fire-sustaining oxygen, despite redesigns to solve this specific problem.
I love that the F-35 Lightning has a lightning vulnerability problem. It has to avoid its namesake.
Wing drop concerns are still not resolved after 6 years and may only be mitigated or solved at the expense of combat maneuverability and stealth, the two major things that this thing is sold on.
So this is all, like, we have all this, and this is why we can't have Medicare for all. Is that right?
Essentially, yes.
A fraction of it. Like,
it would, yeah.
1 month of not working on the F-35 would solve Medicare. I mean, probably not, but like, you know.
Well, that $2 trillion, that does put it in the most expensive weapons system program ever in history of Earth, inflation included. Yeah, and it sucks. When everything's working 100%, it's okay. Once again,
hold on, I'm gonna put on my
time. It is not.
I'm gonna put on my chud hat. Hold on, okay. I'm now a chud. Well, don't you see, like, it's creating jobs. All these people that work on the F-35, they're employed and they bring that money home to, you know, reinvest in their community, like cookouts and other things.
Yes. And that's intentional.
And then the tax money just goes back into the jet.
I love this idea that any money spent goes into the jet. If I go to McDonald's, buy a hamburger, that will end up in the jet eventually.
It all ends up in the jets.
The F-35 is the Floby of money. It like takes money and shreds it.
When I think of like people who have served in the military, it's like, I serve for something greater than myself, to put money into the jet.
Every time you go to work every day and a certain amount of your paycheck goes to the jet.
One of my favorite things about being in the military is that we still had to pay taxes, so we were essentially just paying our own paychecks.
Yeah, nobody can't tithe the jet. You have to tithe the jet.
The Church of Prosperity Gospel, but it's a jet.
Okay, so a continuing issue with this jet is the helmet. Because
I know about the helmet.
It's got a fancy HUD built into the helmet instead of a HUD in front of you, pointing in the direction that the jet goes and the direction that shoots everything.
They were so proud of
it. You got it tracking you, and you can see it everywhere, and it sucks, and it doesn't work.
And Nate, how much does it cost?
A single helmet? Yeah, this is like the one thing I written down. $400,000.
Sick VR, dude.
Which, from what I understand, works. It's worse than a HoloLens.
Yep.
Which, like, admittedly, is pretty expensive. I think it's like $2,000 for a HoloLens. But like, the idea that like it was also unnecessary too, right? Like, it's not like giving
you don't need it.
Like, because
it just sounds cool.
It's because like it gives you like fuel gauge and the little ball that tells you your horizon, right?
It also gives you a high degree of false alarm rates and computer stability concerns, and it seriously reduces the pilot's situational awareness.
Because it's also funny.
This is the exact wording from the Pentagon's report. Seriously reducing the pilot's situational awareness and endangering their lives in combat.
Well, because you can't take the helmet off. You need it to live.
Yeah.
And so if it's like freaking out, you're boned. You're dead.
Okay. We were talking about the orb earlier.
Yes, Eddie, the orb.
We love the orb.
The sentient orb from Stealth. Loves Incubus.
The orb for this jet is the Alice, ALIS.
Wait, the evil computer from Resident Evil?
Essentially, yeah. It is the brain. First of all, major key issue with it that everybody keeps pointing out. Maintainers,
it's a woman.
Pilots, even the fucking contractors. It has zero redundancy. So
which is important
it cracks
for
out.
Yeah.
Yes, you would think it's important to have redundancies on things they're getting shot at.
Well, when it works every time, you don't really need backup.
It does not work every time. It does not. It's one of the major issues. And it's like how badly this thing works.
It's the main foundational thing that it comes to like avionics software.
Mm-hmm.
It's an actual thing. Like you design in a spiral where you're testing every single thing the entire time. You have backups for backups, like because this is the same deal with like programming a jet, which also not jet, but like a Boeing 747 Max, right? Is that you have to have redundant systems because if they fail, then you crash in the Atlantic. Like it.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. So the idea that they just kind of skipped over that. It's like what, they ran out of money? Like no, it's because, and from what I understand, like this is the only kind of other research I did was that like they didn't really have software developers. Lockheed Martin is not a software company; they're a hardware company. They have engineers, and they didn't really hire out.
Oh yeah, you don't
jobs.
want engineers doing your coding.
Yeah, or vice versa. Like, let's be real. Like, software engineering is a.
No.
They're all programmers. They're not engineers. I say as someone who does that. Like, they're all programmers. But like, you don't just train that in house. You don't just get Steve to like program your Alice. Because like even saying it sounds stupid.
Because here's the thing, all the flight surfaces on it, all the things that are stabilize it and make it fly, are all computer controlled. So if this thing is getting bad data, it can do some really bad shit just automatically to try and compensate. Like it's one of those things where while I was in the F-22, they're like, don't push this button. If you push this button, the jet will think it's in the air and it will freak out because it has zero speed.
Right. And well, that's what happens
just
too. Is that
start flailing everywhere to try and catch air.
Like for anyone out there who's built something on bad software, a lot of times what happens for users is that they find workarounds in order to not die.
Mm-hmm.
Right. It's like, all right, don't press this button because if you press it, then you'll die. And so like a software guy's like, oh, I'll fix it, which causes 20 more different problems that you weren't aware of. And it's just like these problems keep on cascading it to the point where you just have to rewrite the damn thing. But for something like this, you cannot rewrite it. Like there's not going to be any means because it's so it's a codependency issue, right? There's no encapsulation between these systems, right? They're all tightly coupled.
Mm-hmm.
And so when one system fails, every other system has to fucking deal with it. Right. It's like if the program fails, then the engineering people have to work around in their area that they can affect to fix it. It's like, all right, we built this lever to, if the program fails, you hit the lever and you'll be able to do this other thing. But that's going to cause software problems. And so the software people is like, all right, we're going to have this button here to solve the lever issue.
So if I understand this correctly, the F-35 is basically filled with Victorian ladies, and if one of them hears a swear and passes out, they all start to pass out.
Yeah.
Okay.
No, it's a whole lot of cascading dominoes.
That rocks.
Yeah. Okay. So directly from the report, Alice software failures continue to impede operation, mission planning, and maintenance on the F-35, forcing the services to be overly reliant on contractors and, in quotation marks, unacceptable workarounds. All right. As a crew chief, workarounds are bad.
Yeah, no shit.
You don't want to be doing workarounds.
You don't want to get into your jet and see duct tape in the corner to cover up the warning light.
Unacceptable workarounds are atrocious. That is really, really fucked if you're doing if you get called into the office and they tell you this is an unacceptable workaround. You are in a world of shit. I don't even know the level of quotation marks unacceptable workarounds. I can't fathom how fucked this situation must be.
And money doesn't solve everything, obviously, right? Like,
no,
they
because
threw
they keep
so much
money into it, and it's just as shitty in 2015 as it is today.
Right.
Because as of a 2019 report, the data provided by the Alice is often incorrect, leading to fighters being erroneously categorized as non-mission capable. Essentially, the jet is going, nah, man, I can't today. I'm good.
So the jet sucks. It barely works. It is a machine designed only for killing, a MODOK, if you will.
I can fly like a bird, though, Tyler.
And sting like a bee. Yeah, I get it.
Oh, it flies like a bird. I think precisely like one time, and that was last 2023 when that one guy ejected out, and it just kept going.
So it flies like a bird with a brain injury.
Okay, I now have the most important question I've ever asked on this episode. How many times has this thing been deployed? Like, is it a lot? Or is it like 2?
So I can tell you, Israel flew 2 over Iran when they bombed Iran.
Okay.
They have 36, and at 110 million a pop.
Sure.
That's a lot. You can do the math.
Like, it sounds like we haven't even used this fucking thing.
We have used it, but it spends more time on the ground dealing with repairs than it does getting used. Cool. It is not a reliable tool.
Okay. So that's why the plane, it sucks. It's evil, right?
Yes.
I want to talk about now how it is a problem for the system. Like, it's a system-wide problem, like a problem within America. Like, I want to talk about, because what this really is a symptom of the military-industrial complex, right? Now, you put your chud hat on and said this created jobs.
Yeah.
Because it does create a lot of jobs. Because that's exactly why they do it.
I found a number for the F-22. Once again, in total, they made 196 aircraft over the course of 14 years, and that created 95,000 jobs to build 2 aircraft a month. So it's a lot of jobs, and like people see that and they're like, well, of course we gotta keep fucking doing it.
But like, just because you're creating jobs doesn't mean you're creating jobs that are useful, right? Like,
yes. They have to create jobs. We need jobs because we need to make money. We need to fuel the economy, right?
Send everyone to the cookie clicker factory. You click the cookie and then you'll get money for it. Then have that be a job. Like, why not just
honestly, that is probably what it's going to turn into. That's what most jobs are these days, is you're fucking clicking shit. You're just clicking shit.
You click the big cookie, you get a cookie. Whereas, like, it could be an actual public works program.
I wish,
right? Like,
that's my job was clicking.
Well, yeah. Because you have a real job, right? And I'm not saying that the people building the jets don't have a real job. I mean, like,
some of them don't.
They build a jet.
It feels like a real job. You're actually like making something.
You have a wrench and you're turning bolts.
Exactly.
Right? But like, for what though? Like, you're not building a dam, you're not building a road, you're not building a hospital, you're building a jet that doesn't work.
Here's the real thing with it is like, all right, this one's like the most expensive. And they're trying to build a ton. They're not built, like, all in all, they're not building a lot of them. It
because
takes
they don't
a
want
lot
them,
of time. However, they're building a lot of other things. You build a lot of Hummers. You build a lot of tanks. We have got so many fucking tanks.
Oh yeah,
that
like
we don't use.
There is that like field in Georgia somewhere.
The military has straight up said, "Stop giving us tanks. We don't have anywhere to put all these tanks. We don't
send them
use
to the
all
police.
Of these tanks.
The police need the tanks. The police need an F-35.
That's honestly probably
it's gonna
one of the
happen.
big reasons why they keep getting all the military tech is because like
Cop City needs an F-35. But here's the thing,
they just got so much shit that they have to offload it. They're stacking tanks like Legos. They don't have anywhere to put them.
I think the police should have all like at least 100 F-35s. I think they should fly them often.
Honestly,
the LAPD would start so many more
fires. That might deplete their budget, so go for it.
No, like Eve touched on this earlier when she said this problem is too big to fail because if we for even a second stop doing this, our economy falls apart. And I think that's what truly makes the F-35 evil, and by extension, makes America evil.
Well, yeah, I mean, you know, we need to justify why we're spending public money on something, right? Whether it be a space jet or fake money. Like,
what if we took the jet money that I've been sending to jets my entire life, my entire working life, I now see has been giving money to jet. Why can't we give people BBLs or hair plugs or like face surgery or like just anything like that?
I mean,
because it doesn't kill anyone.
Well, no, like there's a reason, right?
That stuff's so expensive.
I think it's because it's a public good, right? And we can't have those.
No,
but really though,
all right. The whole system is they would rather you not think that there's any other option than provide you another option. They will put way more effort into making sure you cannot do anything else than they ever will into improving it.
Yeah, and I also think like the answer is just like greed. It's pretty, you know, like
executive greed.
Yeah, like these guys all hang out, smoke cigars, and like say, "Hey, I'll give you a $1 trillion contract for a plane. Well, you give me like a child's soul. Like, you know, it's a good exchange." And,
no, like child's whole, not the soul.
I would argue it's both. And there you go. You know, and they go and they have a party. Like, I don't think it needs to be more complicated than that. Like, because honestly, I'm sure like half the budget for these ghouls is just political lobbying, right? And so like that's the system. That's why we don't get dams, you know,
or roads or bridges,
right? And honestly, like it feels like such an impossible problem to even complain about, right? It's like it's one of those too big to acknowledge, right?
Yeah,
you're right.
No, once you get into like the trillions, it's just like these are just imaginary numbers at this point.
Right, and so that's why people are complaining about teachers' wages, because you can't really even conceptualize how expensive a jet costs.
Yeah, like I'm like where I'm at. As far as I'm concerned, if a friend of mine has like at least $1,000 in their bank, they're doing pretty good.
Yeah,
sure, yeah.
Like, I mean, you know, that's a survivable amount of money. Not much. It's a sketchy amount. Like it's a risky amount. But hey, you know what? You got enough for food. You can get by.
If you need one filling, you're good.
Yeah, no.
If you need more than that, though, watch out.
But as long as you're staying chill and
this whole thing to me, I like learning about the cost of it, the trillions and trillions of dollars just wasted, and that we're going to continue to waste
on continual almost planned incompetence.
Yeah,
like it feels so bad that it, like if you want to think it's intentional. I don't necessarily buy that it is. Yeah, but like you want to feel like it's some sort of scheme, but like I don't think it is, right? Like because it's probably just incompetence. You're throwing money at people that are grateful to take it. That's what happens.
It's like I work with people, and they're like. I work with other nurses and they're like, oh, God, my taxes are paying for this homeless person's Medicare or whatever. And they get so pissed off about that. And I've started saying to them, my taxes over, like, what is it I said? My taxes, you know what I'm mad about? That my taxes took 23 years to replace the Taliban with the Taliban. Like,
yeah,
that's what my tax money did. I don't care if some fucking unhoused person gets a fucking meal at the hospital. That doesn't matter. That's pennies. But I read about this military shit, and it's just wasteful for what?
Yeah, well, I mean, for fuck all.
So fucking Israel can fucking bomb children?
Sure. But just wait. We're spending another 1.7 trillion to renew our nuclear weapons program. Because
it all feels
that shit's all
fake.
falling apart.
It all feels like fake money, right? When you hear $1 trillion, it's not real. Like, how many hamburgers is that? Like, let me put this in American math. I will insert the number of McDonald's Big Macs you can buy for $1 trillion here.
A Big Mac is $6.19. That is 161,550,888,530 Big Macs.
I could easily eat that many hamburgers.
Yeah. And just put that in context for all the Americans out there. You gotta put it in hamburger math.
I guarantee you that number is not even that number is not one that is actually comprehensible. I think we had trouble even fully putting $1 million into context.
Yeah, and so that's why you get angry at the homeless guy that got a free sandwich, because you know how much a sandwich costs.
I just said I don't get angry at him.
Well, I'm trying to
Tyler,
humanize.
Quit getting mad at the homeless.
I'm trying to humanize this person that gets angry at the homeless guy.
I pulled myself up from my bootstraps and I'm not homeless anymore. Why can't fucking Roger Homeless do that? Huh? Fucking idiots.
I mean, yes, they are morons.
The critics, not the actual homeless people. I don't think homeless people are stupid.
But it also the thing I hate about this time, this time of
this epoch,
this new president time, is that people are saying don't feel helpless, do action. I agree, do local stuff, but I'm sorry, I'm allowed to feel hopeless about a giant jet that sucks up all of your money.
Yeah, it's like planned futurelessness is what this is. It takes away our money and pumps it into something that can only either 1, blow up, or 2, kill brown people.
Right.
See, that's the thing. All this shit is the side effect for them is to make you feel hopeless, to make you feel like there is nothing to be done. This is all it's ever going to fucking be. And yeah, it can feel hopeless. But you gotta create a little bit of hope, at least on some level, because I believe that we can escape this, at least on a small scale. We can separate from this to some degree, even just for a little while.
That's where I sit too. Hope outside of government. I think because it's just,
anarchy.
But yes, though, right? I mean,
yes.
Hey, because the idea that the government's gonna look at this giant fucking jet that costs more than think about how much money you'll make in a lifetime, and then times that by 1 million, and
then times that by another billion, and it's probably that,
right? And just you think the government's gonna stop that? They're gonna sit wake up and go, whoa, this is expensive. We better stop buying this useless fucking jet. No, they're not. They're not gonna stop, and no amount of voting is gonna stop that. And so, yeah,
we
sorry.
Gotta change up tactics.
So I've been building
a smaller, cheaper jet.
I've been building a suicide vest.
No, a Killdozer. Because here's the thing.
Oh my god, a Killdozer would solve everything.
And I want to bring it back to the beginning because I wanted to pose this question.
All I've got to say is if you can get a Killdozer to a flight line, I could point you in the directions you need to go to fully disable that flight line.
We are not condoning any domestic terrorism.
No, I would not recommend doing that. It would not be very fun for you. Or it would be very fun for about 10 minutes.
Legally, you can build a Killdozer, right? And the question I want to know, the answer I want to know is how many Killdozers to one F-35? What's the ratio there? Because the Killdozer...
actually, I could... Or how many Killdozers you can build for the cost of an F-35?
Yeah.
Because I guess it depends on what kind of materials. I do have the prices of the F-35 here if you want.
Yeah. So 15 grand for a Killdozer, let's say, because it's it was a used bulldozer, and you pour the concrete. We're not counting in labor at that point. Yeah.
So
because it's a labor of love.
That's right.
It depends on which variation that you're going with.
Of Killdozer?
No, of F-35s.
Let's just go the cheapest one.
The cheapest one is the F-35A used by the Air Force. It is a standard takeoff and landing, so it doesn't have the VTOL stuff.
Okay. How much is that bad boy?
That one is $82.5 million per bird.
82.5.
You can get a bulldozer for $2,000.
Okay. So
I mean, it depends on the size and like how modern it is, but
2,000 plus.
Let's see, if you build it like to spec, you're also going to need a.
Are we doing terrorism right now?
No, we're doing math.
Okay.
a 50 caliber rifle.
Okay. And so like
and several Glocks. All
of them like 4,000?
Machine controlled with cameras. So that's going to add a couple extra thousand on top.
So I had to say 10,000, right? So we're looking at 12,000. And like, let's round up. Let's say 15, because like, you gotta have.
You're gonna want a nice chair in there.
We're doing upgrades. We looked at the flaws of the original one, and we're saying, hey, we could build a better Killdozer.
We're Americans, god damn it. We build weapons.
Okay, so I want you to, Tyler, you have a calculator ready?
I'm getting it.
Okay. I want you to type in 82.5 million.
Hold on. What do you? So you want 8.5 million?
No.
82.5
million dollars. That's for one.
82,500,000.
Okay. Keep on adding zeros.
Got it.
Okay. Divide that by 17,000. We needed to figure out how many Killdozers we can get.
We can make almost 4,900 Killdozers.
4,900 Killdozers.
Killdozer 2.0. It's the improved Killdozer.
And then we'll divide that.
We aren't getting fancy HUD helmets.
That's almost 100 Killdozers a state.
I would argue that is more battle effective than one shitty plane that will explode. that will tell you that you can't be trusted and take over the controls.
Damn.
We're
evil.
Just fly away without you. That's still my favorite thing. The time that they lost a jet for 30 hours.
Like there's a guy just
because it flew away.
Hey, did you think that maybe like did the plane malfunction or maybe the pilot just had bad vibes?
No.
Apparently a bunch of shit was going on. He was like, "Oh shit, I'm about to crash." Ejected, and then the jet just kept going.
If I'm fighting a war, give me the like almost 5,000 Killdozers.
So this is like the whole 10,000 rats, 5 bears thing. Would you want one F-35 or 10,000 Killdozers?
Immediately what happens?
I would want 10,000 Killdozers. You don't need a lot of training for a Killdozer.
The F-35 just flies away and you win. Just right away, the F-35 just explodes on the landing.
The F-35's the coughing baby, and 5,000 Killdozers is the atomic bomb.
Man, we're gonna lose World War III so hard. It's not even gonna start. Like China's gonna land one guy, and we're all gonna freak out and kill ourselves.
Oh, speaking of China,
here we go.
They've already developed a stealth detection system that can counter.
Because of course
they can counter the stealth protection.
Because like they have a plan and they're like, we should spend this money responsibly.
Yeah, because they have money and infrastructure and brains.
Yeah, you know.
God, I should have been born in China.
Because I was expecting the Pentagon to be like, no, they didn't. They're just full of shit. It doesn't. But they were like, well, it doesn't matter because we focus on the kill chain, so it's not a threat.
Okay.
I was just like, shut the fuck up.
The last thing I want to know is, what is a kill chain?
Okay, so
this is the chain she kills you with when you ask stupid questions. Come on now.
The kill chain is essentially just like the varying layers of a defensive or an offensive action. So
okay,
you know, you got like your infantry, anti-air tanks, missile systems, yada yada yada, and essentially like if you can break that chain, then it gives you a hole, and it causes the whole rest of the thing to kind of start falling apart.
See, you sneak a Killdozer onto a military base, and that stops the kill chain.
The problem with the Killdozers is that they tend to be very loud and obvious. They're not stealth capable.
We need to make a stealth Killdozer.
Let's do Operation Dumbo Drops with Killdozers.
Let's put it on the spectrum of hate, shall we?
Yeah, we should. So here on Hate Speech, we have something that we like to call the spectrum of hate, because to discuss any kind of evil thing or just anything in general, you should probably do that somewhere upon a spectrum, because that allows for some nuance. And on our spectrum of hate, we have one thing that is pretty much uniformly hated, can be hated, ethically okay to hate, which is one Adolf Hitler. And on the other end of our spectrum is someone who's universally beloved and the complete opposite of Adolf Hitler. That is one LeVar Burton, sweetie pie. Love him.
So generally the way we kind of find the line here is like how many bodies are associated with it. Either how many people they slept with or how many people they killed.
Well, I'm just going to go ahead and say it. I think I win. Because the F-35 is participating in genocide actively
right
and intentionally.
Now, yeah.
Yes.
Well, okay. When at what capacity? We've put Hitler at the bottom because, you know, Hitler. But has the F-35 killed more than Hitler?
The F-35 has been intentionally used to blow up children.
But Hitler has also blown up children.
Oh, yeah, I don't think it beats Hitler.
It's not going to beat Hitler, but I think it's the closest
Hamilton.
to Hitler.
Well, the F-35 is so incompetent, it could not beat Hitler. We've already established it, you know. I think by its incompetence.
If I had come with like the military-industrial complex as a whole, I would say arguably, probably, yes, it could be Hitler. But I wanted to approach it through the context.
Look at it. Look at it like this.
So I think it's less than Hitler.
If you put Hitler in a room alone with his enemy, he'd still try to kill his enemy. If you put an F-35 in a room alone with his enemy, wouldn't do anything. It's just a hunk of expensive metal.
Well, here's
the F-35, the little touch screen computers, because hey, sure, let's go ahead and have a touch screen computer when you're having to look in every other direction.
Here's the fight between Hitler and an F-35. They both stand off at each other and they both kill themselves. That's what happens when you get both of them in a room.
More often than not, the F-35 is just going to say, no.
It flies away.
Something's wrong. My tummy hurts.
It starts beeping.
F-35 looks at you, Garthrude up.
What's wrong, F-35? My belly hurts.
You don't have a belly, F-35.
So I accept that the F-35 is probably the worst thing on the list aside from Hitler.
Yeah.
I think that it's our new number 26.
Suck it, Hamilton.
Yeah. I mean,
you got fucking blasted.
Listen, to be fair, Hamilton does suck for the reasons we talked about. However, the incompetent machine of war that kills people both through the amount of money it takes to build, as well as the things that when it does succeed to fly, it does explode people. So,
in the way it's basically baked into our society that we can never stop funneling money to the jet.
I'd rather have Hamilton than the F-35.
Gotta feed the jet. Its tummy hurts.
It needs money.
It needs all of your money. Like, we literally built a Mammon machine. Like, we're just like, all right, everyone, you have to actually give money to Moloch. Sorry.
Jesus. We are a deeply, deeply diseased people. And that's just COVID and the flu, but also in our souls.
It sucks.
Oh. This hurt me, like learning about this stuff and trying to put it in context, because the Iraq and wars in Afghanistan, that was $3 trillion in 20 years.
But like, we have a button here that is America's response to all that.
We will never apologize. And America is the great Satan.
And I think that really kind of sums up the military-industrial complex.
It is the great Satan. But hey, it used to get our friend Eve a paycheck.
Yeah.
And it also gave me several burns and permanent hearing loss and probably cancer.
So who can say which one is
Donald Trump.
God bless America.
Yeah, which president should be blamed for this, by the way? Like which?
2001, George W. Bush.
It was W?
Yeah.
The program was started under Clinton.
Yeah.
They're the same to me.
I mean, like they all care. They all like pass.
Yeah, no, they all just
along.
keep pumping money into it.
You know, who was the first president to criticize this program and say that we needed to stop it? Donald Trump in 2017.
You know, again, much like Al Qaeda, you don't have to hand it to him.
But
he wants to build it.
Even a moron could look at this jet and be like, "What the fuck are we doing?"
Yeah, he said, "What a waste of money. What do we even get out of this?" And then Lockheed Martin's like, "We got to shut this down."
they like whisper in his ear. It's like, "No, stupid. It's fine. We'll give you a lot."
And I got to think about it because Trump just announced he's going to pump $500 billion into AI.
Yeah.
How much you want to bet the AI goes into the F-35?
It's all scams, right? Like,
yeah,
they're just looking for a new thing to pump money into to make their friends rich. Like, it's never been about building a good jet.
It's just,
it's
all fake, and your money pays for it. But you're right; it's probably a homeless guy's fault. That's hate speech, everybody. Good night.
No. There's a proper exit.
There is. We gotta ask Eve to tell the people where they can find her, what she's got, plug her shit, what's going on.
No, don't plug her shit.
Plug her shit. What is she, cat turd too? You hear about that guy?
Yeah, I did. She got plugged. Hi, Eve.
Hi.
Where can we find you?
Well, not much of anywhere, honestly. I'm kind of trying to disconnect more and more. I still occasionally will check and pay passive attention to Blue Sky. And you can find me over at Lawless Victory. That is lawless as in crime, victory as in winning.
Winning at crime. Also, there's, a private Discord you hang out in with some of us as well.
In there fairly often.
Where we plan all these neverminds, these whoopsies.
I would say that, if you've made it to this point, then you feel free to ask us about the secret Discord.
Yeah.
You should join. It's pretty cool. I am also every other week on Fridays. I am on the Enchanted Sorcery Productions Twitch channel doing a live campaign of Thirsty Sword Lesbians, where I am currently playing a 19th century gay paleontologist who has to pass her work off to her twink husband just so it gets taken seriously. It's pretty fun, so maybe check that out. Just one more thing.
Progressive Columbo is coming. Just one more thing.
Just one more thing.
This shit, all of them. No, this shit's gonna be fucking scary. All right?
Yeah.
It's okay to be scared. Don't fucking give that to them, though. All right? You fucking spit in their eyes. You kick them in the dick. These people are terrified of us. They are fucking horrified. They don't do this shit because they think it's easy. They do it because they are well aware that what we represent is their annihilation. They look at us and they see death because they know it is inevitable. So they have to strike, and they have to strike fucking hard, and they're going to do cruel and awful shit. But we will get through, and they will all fucking die.
And we're going to set up a GoFundMe to build Eve a Killdozer.
No, we went over the math.
Honestly, listen, if we're doing money shit, Copper Harpy on Cash App. I'm trying to get on the fucking road and get my car fixed up so I can go fucking nomad. So if you want to give me some money to fix up my car, because my goal is to get on the road and just travel around the country, trying to help as many people as I can, to try and connect with as many mutual aid groups as I can, and to help maybe just start convoying with people that don't feel like they have a home anywhere.
Yeah, it'll be just like Road Warrior.
I was about to say
Hell
Mad Max.
yes.
It sounds like a Mad Max.
No, I would be so fucking game. Let's do some Road Warrior shit.
Like, how much money would you think it would cost to put like spikes on your wheels?
Not much.
Yeah.
Not much. We just looked into how much this shit costs, and
like scrap metal and some basic welds. You're good.
And I'll co-sign everything Eve said. Like, this stuff is designed to make you feel afraid and helpless, and you're not as helpless. Like, sure, you can't stop an F-35. You can't.
Yeah, no,
you can't stop all that, but you can affect the space around you.
You learn a valuable lesson that the Pentagon isn't. Don't be a multi-tool. All right? Find what you're good at and do that thing. Just do that thing, and you will help so many fucking people.
Yeah. I volunteer with mutual aid stuff. It rocks.
It could be such a small thing. Like, go out to like a food kitchen and do the dishes. That will help so much. Like, there are so many just even little minor things. Like, it could be pretty much anything. Every little bit helps.
Yeah, if you need an idea, just message one of us.
Yeah.
We will groom you and we will radicalize you.
Well, no, this is a legitimate thing that I would like to learn. I want to learn how to make hormones. I hear that there's a DIY thing that you can do. And I'm like,
there's some cool fucking shit that you could do with like a home lab.
You should be out there making whores moan.
Well, yeah, I mean, like, you know, yes.
Anybody?
Well, I'm pleased to announce HRT does help with that.
You want to make some hormones?
I mean, like, how hard could it be?
It depends. It depends on how you're doing it. But
the dog behind you definitely wants to learn.
But yeah, no, look into it. I'll try to find you some info.
Nate, I will say this: if you make a hormone, I will try it.
No, like,
I'll take
Listen,
it.
Yeah, somebody's got to be the first one.
I'll take your moans, Nate. I'll take your moans.
What a better way to start leaving. Goodbye.
Hate speech, motherfucker, hate speech. Hate speech, motherfucker, hate speech.
Let's see that.
Hate speech, motherfucker, hate speech. What about it? Hate speech, motherfucker, hate speech. Hate speech, motherfucker, hate speech. Hate speech, motherfucker, hate speech.
I'll say this, Nate. If my dad can synthesize methamphetamine, you can make a hormone.
That would be there are absolutely kits that you can get there, or just essentially like you get like the core components, and all you have to do is just mix them at the right levels and dry it out, and you got pills.
We do that.
Yeah,
and build a Killdozer.
No, look into it. It's very doable.
A couple of boys pumped full of estrogen in their Killdozer coming to a town near you.
This has been Hate Speech, a very actionable podcast.
Such luscious hair.